This is a sports catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather Ho there. It's Jeff Gooder, and welcome me to another sports catastrophe on this date. And we start August off with this one. And just to note that new ones in August 2023 will be few and far between for on this days. I've counted, and I only have 11 of the possible 31 days that I will be doing new ones. The reasoning is if there's a topic on a certain day, and I don't want to repeat myself doing that certain topic. So anyway, I found one for August the 1st. And this was the final day of the 1976 Olympics. So, anyway, the Montreal Olympics came forward in 1976. In 1970, the IOC met in Amsterdam. One of the last sessions, I think it was the last session or the second last session, that Avery Brundage would be the president of the IOC. Of course, his tenure as IOC president is very controversial. Anyhow, the vote happened May 1970. Los Angeles and Moscow looked like they were going to be favorites. However, many of the smaller and neutral countries would support Montreal as an underdog because it would be a good site. Montreal defeated Moscow in the second round of voting. But the good news for Moscow and LA was that they would host the next two Summer Olympics. Moscow got the 1980 one and LA got the 1984 one. So anyway, Montreal did it and all that. So anyway, they decided to do a lot of things and all that. So anyway, there were rumors that Queen Elizabeth II wasn't going to be able to come to the opening of the games because of the whole situation with the separatists and Parti Québécois getting there and all that. René Lévesque actually asked Buckingham Palace to do so. However, it was not obliged because he was out of his jurisdiction offering advice to the sovereign. And Canada still had the monarchy. We still answered to the monarchy before the Constitution of Rights in 1982. So anyway, Trudeau barred Taiwan from participating as China in the 1976 Olympics and all that. And also there was another mistake because there was a New Zealand rugby tour of South Africa. And unfortunately South Africa could not compete in the Olympics because of their apartheid stuff. So anyway, when New Zealand was not banned from the Olympics, 29 African countries would boycott it and all that. Unfortunately, the Montreal Olympics will always, always be remembered as the one with the massive cost overrun. In 2015, Oxford Olympic study in England estimated the outturn cost of $6.1 billion US dollars in 2015 dollars, and cost overrun of 720%, meaning that they spent 7 times more. But this was only sports related costs. It didn't include the operational costs. Expenditures for technology, transportation, workforce administration, security, catering, ceremonies, and medical service, and direct capital costs to build the venue's International Broadcast Center and all that. The cost overrun is the highest cost overrun record for any Olympics. The $6.1 billion and the 720% cost overrun, respectively, is the worst. Rio, by comparison, had a cost of $4.6 billion and 51% overrun, so at least they budgeted. London had $15 billion. The Olympics were $15 billion for London and 76% overrun. The average cost overrun between 1960 and 2016 was 176%. Or to put it bluntly, Montreal's was 4 times that number. Unfortunately, there was a construction union problems. as Andre Desjardins was the leader and would put the construction site in anarchic disorder to shake it as a shakedown, basically making the union. I was trying to make the provincial and federal government shake down to him. Didn't really work out. Anyway, Roger Talibert, the guy who designed the Olympic Stadium, and Montreal Mayor Jean Drapeau tried to buy up Desjardins, taking him to lunch to end the delays. However, Barossa, the Quebec Premier, had to buy off Desjardins himself. So anyway, the opening ceremony happened on a Saturday afternoon, around 3 Eastern Time, in front of 73,000 in the stadium and 500 million watching on TV. So it was huge and all of that. So of course, the Queen was there with her consort, all that, with Prince Philip and her son Prince Andrew. Of course, we all know about Prince Andrew's crapola. Princess Anne, her daughter, actually was in the Olympics competing for Great Britain in the equestrian events. So, anyway, the parade of athletes started with the Greek team as they always did, and Canada went last. All other teams entered the stadium due to French alphabetical order, which meant that some countries in English would not be whatever. Anyway. The Olympic flame was carried by two 15-year-olds, Stéphane Prefontaine and Sandra Henderson, making them the first pair to light the Olympic flame. It usually was one person. Anyway. Yeah, the Olympics would be the first summer games held under the presidency of Baron Killaren of Ireland. He was the IOC president after Brundage. One of the Japanese shooting team members actually became Prime Minister of Japan 32 years later, after the games. So, yeah. Actually, the Olympic flame was doused by a rainstorm. An official actually relit the flame using a cigarette lighter, but organizers doused it and had a backup of the original flame. This was the first time women's basketball, handball, and rowing were introduced into the Olympics. Canada, how did they do? They had 11 medals, 5 silvers, 6 bronzes. No, I said silver and bronze. I never said gold, because we didn't do it. This was the first time in Summer Games history that the host nation did not get a gold medal, although it wasn't the first time in history, as 1924 in Chamonix, France, and 1928 in Saint-Marin, Switzerland, the host countries did not get a gold medal, but those were the Winter Games. However, this would actually be the only time in Summer Games history, as of 1976, that a host nation did not win a gold medal in the Summer Games. Although Yugoslavia in 1984 and Canada again in 1988 in the Winter Games did not win gold medals. Of course, there were some great moments in 1976. Nadia Comaneci getting a perfect 10 at the Olympics. But the scoreboard could only hold 3 digits, and the score was 1.00. So everyone knew it was a 10. So he did his job. Trinidad and Tobago finally got a gold medal thanks to Hasley Crawford winning the 100 meters. Boris Onashenko, a member of the Russian modern pentathlon team, the team that does 5 events, was disqualified after he had rigged his épée to register a hit when there was no one. The team was disqualified, and Onashenko was banished to Siberia, allegedly, by the premier of the Soviet Union. The U.S. actually had one of the best boxing teams around. They had Sugar Ray Leonard, Leon Spinks, Michael Spinks, Leo Randolph, and Howard Davis Jr. winning gold medals. All of them minus Davis actually were professional world champs. Surprisingly, a Japanese gymnast by the name of Shun Fujimoto actually performed on a broken right knee and got Japan to win the gold medal in the team event. He hid the extent of his injury because of how close they were with the Russians, although he broke his leg too. Fujimoto somehow dismounted from the rings perfectly with a triple somersault. The U.S. men's swimming team won almost every gold medal. They missed by one. These Germans, on the other hand, won all but two of the women's events. Of course, they were drugged up. Soon learn. So, anyway, Bruce Jenner won the gold medal for the decathlon. Of course, we all know what Bruce became. Greg Louganis took silver at 16 years old. People forget, yes, he won the 84 and 88 events, but he, at 16 years old, took silver. Anyway, Poland shocked the Russians by winning the men's volleyball final. They had to come back from 2 sets down to win the last 3. Edwin Moses, a college student, was a new record holder in the 400-meter hurdles, and that almost started his career of 11 straight years without losing a race. Bermuda won a bronze in boxing, which made it the smallest nation in terms of population to win an Olympic medal at the Summer Olympics. Thomas Bach actually won gold medal in team foil in fencing. You will remember him. He was the IOC president at one time. So yeah, so it was huge and all that. So there were many Olympics. Participating nations, a lot of them. Andorra, Antigua, Barbuda, Cayman Islands, and Papua New Guinea were inducted into the Summer Olympics. All that. Many countries were all that. There was a lot of withdrawals and all that because of the whole African thing with the New Zealand and the rugby team. The Soviets would win the most gold with 49, East Germany second with 40, and the US 34. Canada would place 27th in the medal count with 11. And a lot of people thought that Canada screwed themselves over. With their own backsides. But one good thing about Canada, the best moment by a Canadian athlete in 1976 was Greg Joy's high jump competition. He was competing against Dwight Stones, who kind of made some bad comments about French Canadians. Like that's the first time or the last time that would happen. And then all of a sudden, you know, Stones crashed out and took 4th place. If memory serves me right. Greg Joy shocked everyone by jumping the bar and actually claiming silver for Canada. In fact, Greg Joy's high jump would actually be part of the CBC sign-off for years to come. So that's a great moment for Canada. But the cost overruns and the fact that it took Montreal 4 decades to pay off the Olympics, not so much. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond.